All right, week 7 college football breakdown here. Maybe the weirdest, from a scheduling perspective, game of the week. Middle of the season, right in the smack dab of SEC conference play. You got Arkansas traveling to Provo, Utah, and taking on a really good BYU team. This line has kind of jumped around a little bit, somewhat due to injuries. BYU is at one point a 3-point favorite. Then once some word got out that KJ Jefferson was probably going to play, Arkansas flipped to a 1.5-point favorite, and now we've seen it correct to about BYU -1, essentially a pick 'em type game. Total is and has remained pretty high at 66.5 here throughout the week. I don't even really know where to start with this game because listen, these are two teams that I liked preseason. Played Arkansas over the 7.5 wins, played BYU over the 8 wins. So I don't really have a rooting interest here. I know Arkansas has lost their last 3 games. Context is needed. Probably should have beat Texas A&M. Then you lose to Alabama. And listen, without KJ Jefferson, you just weren't going to beat that Mississippi State team last week. With Jefferson back into the fold, this is a pretty manageable matchup for that offense. The one thing we know about Arkansas, incredibly balanced system. Rocket Sanders has had a fantastic year at that running back position. That's all the way dating back to last year. In that veer and shoot, Kendall Briles system, it's just very conducive to efficient and consistent ground game. And I think we've seen that this year for this Arkansas attack. KJ Jefferson is not necessarily a world beater through the air, but I think he's much more than a game manager. I mean, he's been over 9 yards per attempt these past 2 seasons, and we know his ability as a runner. Very much a bigger guy, and I wouldn't necessarily call him an explosive player, but he's incredibly efficient. He takes care of the football, and he is perfect for what Kendall Briles is looking to do with this offense. So, I'm not a huge fan of BYU's defense. We kind of saw what happened to them when they stepped up in competition last week against Notre Dame. I mean, they really just had no answers for Michael Mayer, and they allowed Notre Dame to run the ball better than I thought they would in that matchup. So I do worry a little bit about how BYU's defense will fare in this spot, but this Arkansas defense has been pretty concerning this year. The one thing they can do is get after the quarterback, but that secondary is bad. It's really bad. And, I know we didn't really see it from Jaron Hall last week. I like Jaron Hall, BYU's quarterback, another guy that's going to be in that 8.5 to 9 yard per attempt range. He's got a lot of playmakers on the outside. BYU probably has the better slew of wide receivers in this game than Arkansas does. Gunnar Romney, Puka Nacua, they're really deep at that position. Like we've seen a lot with Arkansas this year, this just figures to be a spot where their secondary can get picked on a little bit. And so I do worry about that. Really where the X factor of this game, and probably the one thing that I have the least feel about, is Chris Brooks for BYU going to be able to run the football in this game? We have seen Arkansas be a little bit more leaky against the run here in recent weeks, but they were pretty good in that department to start the season. And I certainly worry about that unit less than I do the secondary. So we'll see how they step up against Chris Brooks. I mean, Brooks struggled against Baylor. He struggled against Oregon, but he did look pretty good last week. And he does have overall good numbers for BYU. Be interesting to see. That could very well be the X factor of this game. Ultimately, though, I don't really know what to do with this game. Once again, second straight road game for Arkansas, and it's middle of the season in Provo, Utah. Just a criminal scheduling spot. Probably going to see both offensive coordinators throw everything out of the playbook they got. So this total might seem a little bit high, and that was kind of my first reaction. But I don't really have a great feel about this from a betting perspective. Good game to watch. Ultimately, no play for me. All right, guys, before we get out of here, I know you see this shirt right here. If you're in the market for some new golf apparel, check out Proud 90 Golf. Unique, very comfortable polos as well. With the cold weather coming, they've also got a great selection of hoodies and quarter zips. If you see anything you like, at proud90.com, use my promo code Fordham at checkout. It's going to get you 15% off your order. Check the description for more information.